of NDC is coming again. We had a lot of revolutionary songs for those of us who were kids. And somehow, Revo has emerged again and has become very popular, especially with the young people. But there were other songs, and one of them I remember is Aluta. I don't know the kid that's here. It was Hey Aluta, Hey Aluta, Hey Aluta, continua anabited. Hey Aluta, continua, Aluta, continua, Hey Aluta, continua, continua, continua. Okay, there are many kids here. Let's see one that says, Hey Aluta, free the mind, free the mind, free the mind. I mean, these songs were very inspiring, you know. And so we shouldn't resurrect only Rebel, we should resurrect all the other songs that used to lift our spirits and make us do the kinds of things that we did. Thank you very much. General Secretary, Honorable Fifi Kweti, our Director of International Relations, the Honorable Alex Segbefia, chairpersons of our various NDC EU chapters, comrades, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and let me first thank all of you, both the chapter and branch executives and members from our various EU countries, for making the sacrifice and time to gather here in Amsterdam for 3 days to discuss the future of our party, the NDC, and how we can contribute towards an emphatic victory in December 2024. You have rescheduled this conference twice because of other competing events, including the just ended May 13th presidential primaries of our party. I appreciate your patience with me, especially because of your determination that I must be personally present before you hold this gathering. We were close again to rescheduling this session once more because of the impending Asinov by-election. But it is good that we decided to come and push ahead with this event, as this is also a significant gathering for strategizing towards victory in the polls of 2024. Comrades, I bring you greetings from your compatriots in Ghana, whom I had the privilege yet again to visit and interact with across all the 276 constituencies during the just ended primaries. That exercise has contributed to reinvigorating our executives and members at the grassroots. It allowed us to take our message to them and the people in their constituencies, reminding them that the National Democratic Congress remains the political party to trust when it comes to the total development and welfare of the citizens of Ghana. It is therefore our duty to rededicate ourselves to work with absolute commitment in our branches to ensure the maximum votes to guarantee a very resounding victory in 2024. I want to repeat that we must go to the polls on December 7th, 2024 with our own referee. That referee will be our diligence, our alertedness, our preparedness, and winning the election emphatically, I insist. Our 2020 election comeback, raising the number of our seats from 106 to 137, and increasing our votes by almost 1.4 million votes, resulted from the dedication and hard work of all of us and the support of the people of Ghana. Ghanaians have seen the difference and believe in our message, which in 2020 was conveyed by our People's Manifesto. Comrades, we did not become the majority party in Parliament. We were also not declared the winners of the 2020 presidential elections because we left some loose ends untied in what was a bizarre election during the COVID restrictions and the economic meltdown of 2020. And that is why in 2024, we must rededicate ourselves to make our victory emphatic. As I have said before, we do not believe in going to the Supreme Court. the Supreme Court is going to be at the polling stations and the collation centers. As leader and flag bearer, I offer my firm pledge and assurance that I will work with the party's leadership, represented here today by the General Secretary, to build a formidable team and deploy strategies and mechanisms to ensure that we protect the votes of the teeming mass of Ghanaians who have determined to vote for us in 2024. These Ghanaians are yearning to be freed from the shackles of poverty and hardship that has been inflicted on them by the reckless and clueless Akufo-Addo administration. These Ghanaians are yearning to be freed from the shackles of poverty and hardship inflicted on them by the reckless and clueless Akufo-Addo administration. Most Ghanaians are ready to work with us to build the Ghana we all want together. When I spoke at the commemoration of the 44th anniversary of the June 4 uprising in Hohoi last Sunday, I likened the 2024 elections to a peaceful and democratic revolution, which will free our country and our people from the clutches of misrule from a mediocre, reckless, and incompetent government. What we are gathered here to do is a declaration of our intent by those of us here in the diaspora to join up with the broad masses of Ghanaians in the collective push to dislodge this administration through peaceful, free, and fair elections in 2024. This is an absolute national imperative, and we cannot and must not fail the people of Ghana. It has been 7 years of corruption, 7 years of waste, 7 years of arrogance, 7 years of impunity, and 7 years of nepotism, 7 years of abuse of office, 7 years of human rights violation, and worst of all, 7 years of economic mismanagement. Seven years of economic reckless management of the economy has rendered our people broken and struggling from one day to the other just to survive. The Ghanaian economy is now classified amongst the worst managed in the world, and we are currently in the same basket as countries like Sri Lanka. Ghana, our beloved country. Ghana, Nkrumah's country. Inflation is at a record high, impacting the prices of essential goods and services and escalating an already severe cost of living crisis. Our currency, the Ghanaian cedi, has suffered one of its steepest declines in decades, and a few months ago was considered one of the worst performing currencies in the world. Businesses, a number of them, left with no choice but to either fold up or relocate to our neighboring countries. The Bank of Ghana has exacerbated the problem. It has blatantly breached its financial threshold by printing over 40 billion Ghana cedis to finance the government of Ghana's budget deficit. In the last 2 years, we have suffered downgrade after downgrade to junk status by all the international credit rating agencies. And we're finally defaulted on our domestic and external debt repayments. The unilateral insensitive debt restructuring program has seen over 80 billion Ghana cedis lent by millions of Ghanaians to the government through the purchase of government of Ghana bonds expropriated. This has caused severe dislocation in the livelihoods of many pensioners and middle-class Ghanaians, including persons in the diaspora. It has led to the depressing sight of aged pensioners picketing at the Ministry of Finance to demand their meager sums of money. Local businesses, especially contractors and other government service providers, are owed tens of billions of Ghana cedis, whose value continues to dwindle every day following the government's inability or unwillingness to pay them. Government can also not meet all statutory payments, and many of the earmarked funds are in arrears. And by this I mean GET Fund, NHIL, and other such statutory funds. If you go to a hospital today in Ghana and you have an NHIL card, you don't get any service. Not even paracetamol, you won't get from the hospital. Even the most fundamental obligation of a responsible government, such as providing textbooks to primary schools, or ensuring proper and consistent feeding of basic and senior high school students, have become a daunting task. The net effect of all this harrowing development has been that Ghanaians are enduring economic suffering on an unprecedented scale in our history. I'm certain you are all too familiar with this precise narrative I've just given. For those of you in the diaspora on whom millions of your relatives and compatriots back home depend for sustenance through remittances, you must be all too familiar with this story. All this would have been entirely avoidable if this government heeded sound counsel from us in the opposition and other notable voices in civil society and academia at the right time. The deliberate concealment of the actual situation through creative accounting and under declaration of figures has combined with excessive and wasteful expenditure to hasten the inevitable catastrophe that we are witnessing today. Ultimately, too little was done too late, as our economy had so deteriorated that an IMF program could only be secured by accepting the harshest conditionalities possible. To obtain an IMF program, Ghanaians have had to pay a disproportionate price. Domestic bondholders have been given severe and painful head cuts, despite the assurance of the President Nana Akufo-Addo that there will be no haircuts. Atufosin had said there were going to be steep haircuts, and the President responded there will be no haircuts. Now today we know he was not speaking the truth. The consequences of these haircuts have been grave for the financial sector. The financial health of Ghanaian banks has eroded and will undermine the financial sector's performance with attendant job losses. Insurance companies and pension funds also invested in government bonds, and they are also bound to suffer, just as individuals who depend on pension payments for survival will also suffer. In addition to this already hostile economic environment, multiple taxes have been slapped on Ghanaians in the last 2 years alone. Over 23 other tax measures will make life even more unbearable for our people. Steep increases in cost of utilities are increasing the burden on businesses and individuals. And if you've been following, there was an increase of 29% in electricity bills, and just recently another 8.9% has been slapped on top. Import duties and excise duties have shot through the roof. No wonder the Tema and Takrady ports have lost huge volumes of traffic, while Togo and Benin ports continue to be busy and receiving goods that should actually have come through Ghanaian ports. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the burning topics for discussion in Ghana today is the rate at which we are losing our professionals, trained at great expense to other countries, especially the medical field. You've heard about the migration of nurses abroad. I sympathize with the Ghanaian youth. Their feeling of despair and hopelessness is unprecedented in our history. They are now looking for the slightest opportunity to leave our shores in search of greener pastures, even risking their very lives to cross the Sahara and the Mediterranean. The question we should ask ourselves is, how will we work to bring back hope in Ghanaians in the face of these daily challenges? As the most viable alternative, we in the NDC have demonstrated the capacity to rise to the occasion by our record in government. In the past, we have reset our country's trajectory and returned it into an appreciable state of health. We have a duty to our country to lead the charge for change again and bring relief to the long-suffering people of Ghana. Comrades, it will be presumptuous of us to think that this will come quickly, or that the abysmal depths to which the MPP has sunk governance guarantees us an automatic victory at the polls. We must first earn the trust of Ghanaians. A significant section of voters has grown skeptical and are wary of our democracy and its benefits because of their unmet expectations and the spectacular failure of this particular administration. And so when you go to Ghana today, you hear many people say, I don't vote, I don't even see the need to vote, because of the very abysmal failure of this government. It means that they believe that democracy is not working for them. I urge you all to remember that through our actions and the policy platforms, we must canvass, demonstrate the difference between our service in government and the nightmarish example that MPP has set in Ghana. We have been in power, and our record is there for all to see. We do not claim perfection, but we in NDC can never ever be like the MPP.
No comparison.
We simply cannot be compared with the MPP. And we're not as reckless and contemptuous of the people of Ghana as the MPP has been these last 7 years. We have never been and will not be as wasteful, ostentatious, and as imprudent as the MPP has been in power. We are committed to operating a lean government that avoids the MPP's extravagance and get the job done more efficiently with fewer people. Nothing in Ghana's political history compares the level of economic mismanagement that the MPP has superintended these last few years. The NDC believes in substantive offerings, carefully considered and curated to stand the test of time, while comprehensively resolving some of our most complex challenges. We have no intention of taking the mandate of the people of Ghana for granted. We know we're going against an incumbent that has proven that it is prepared to shed the blood of its own citizens to hang on to power. And they amply demonstrated this at Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election and the last 2020 elections, where 8 of our compatriots were killed. And then there is an electoral commission whose neutrality in this electoral contest is questionable. Our work is therefore cut out for us. We must get off our marks immediately and convince Ghanaians that we are prepared to govern in addition to our superior record than that of the MPP. The first step towards doing that is proving that we can manage our internal affairs, which is why this European conference is very significant. This conference offers a platform for us to share unique insights into better organizational strategies and innovative approaches to mobilizing the people of Ghana for a resounding victory in 2024. So I echo to all the organizers and all the chapters who have gathered here from Europe. And thank you very much for what you've done. The NDC proudly values your contribution towards the running of the party and the brilliant perspectives you bring to the table on essential governance matters. And for those of you who are not here, we had a very fruitful meeting with the executives this morning. We briefed them on what was going on back home, and they also raised some of their concerns to us. The party also acknowledges your concerns about participation in elections and governance. Of particular concern to you have been the constitutional impediments to persons holding dual citizenship and the occupation of some positions in government in Ghana. Only a few weeks ago, we suffered what we considered grave injustice when our Member of Parliament for Asin North was thrown out of Parliament by the Supreme Court on grounds that we find entirely unsatisfactory. I previously indicated that one of the things I will do when elected president in 2024 will be to fast-track the clarification of the constitutional provision on allegiance that bars our dual citizens from holding some offices in Ghana. And a Ghanaian living in Europe or America should not have a greater right to vote than one living in Asia or in Africa. We in the NDC will not countenance an attempt or conspiracy between the NPP and the Electoral Commission to implement a lopsided ROPA that favors the NPP.
No.
When we see that a level playing field will be created for all Ghanaians living anywhere outside the country to have the right to vote, we will be more than willing to support such a move. We continue to value your contributions to the development of Ghana, even as life's vicissitudes have ensured that you reside in far and distant lands to either ply your trade and earn a living or pursue some form of personal development. I'm confident that the deliberations which started yesterday will ultimately inure to the benefit of the NDC and provide further impetus to our preparations to salvage the fortunes of our country, which are presently in great peril. We back at home are doing our bit as well and strengthening the cooperation between the national and external branches of our party. Comrades, our meeting today, June 10th, coincides with the 31st anniversary of the formation of our great party, the National Democratic Congress. I wish to stand on your behalf and on my own behalf to extend our congratulations to the founding fathers and mothers of our party and to us all who continue to build and hold the party aloft across the 40,000 branches of our party in Ghana. We acknowledge all our lost comrades in the struggle, and especially our founder, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, retired, former President Professor John Evans Atamils, and my former Vice President, Pa Kwesi Bekwin Emisarata. Later this month, on the 29th, will be the memorial of the late Emisarata, and we hope to join the family at any event to remember his work and contributions to building a better Ghana. On July 24th, we will also celebrate the memory of the late Asundwe Hene, as we have annually done. And it's my intention on that day, as part of the commemoration, to remind Ghanaians of his contribution to Ghana in various forms and how we can learn from him to step up the development of our country in the wake of the depths to which the MPP has sunk us. Together with his family and the people of Keita, and we are still in consultation, and the larger NDC family, we must hold a gathering in November to celebrate the memory of our late founder, Jerry Rawlings, in his own native town of Keita. As you remember, the family in Keita had wanted to hold a funeral for him, but the government prevented them from doing so on the excuse of COVID. Recently, the president has declared COVID over, so nothing stands in the way of the family holding a funeral for him, so that his soul will rest in perfect peace. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your kind attention. I wish all of us a successful conference. May God bless NDC, may God bless our homeland Ghana, and may God bless all our chapters in the European Union. I thank you very much. God bless you.
Acknowledge the speech of His Excellency. Your Excellency, please, we can do it better. Can we give a round of applause? Please, shall we take our seats? Thank you very much.
Secretary, if you are here, please come forward. Secretary.
حي على الفلاح